Hello, welcome back to the channel 12-Step Guide with Troy O. Today we're going to complete our big book, fourth step. We'll do some final reading within step 4 and look at some examples to contemplate. So let's get started with the reading. This will be page 83 in the original version, but it might be around page 70 in a newer version. For sure, it's the last two paragraphs in how it works. So we're beginning a new list today. If we have been thorough about our personal inventory, we have written down a lot. We have listed and analyzed our resentments. We have begun to comprehend their futility, not useful, and their fatality. That's the death spiral, or potentially leading to death, the death of a good life, maybe mortality, those kinds of things. So we have begun to comprehend their futility and their fatality. We have commenced to see their terrible destructiveness. This is still about resentments. We have begun to learn tolerance, patience, and goodwill toward all men, even our enemies, for we look on them as sick people. We have listed the people we have hurt by our conduct, and we're willing to straighten out the past if we could. Last paragraph. In this book, you read again and again that faith would be believing in something positive, a positive strength, did for us what we could not do for ourselves. We hope you are convinced now that God can remove whatever self-will has blocked you off from Him. So our behavior and what we do with our self-will, it sets in motion this destructiveness that blocks us from the sunlight of the Spirit, blocks us from the better things in life. If you have already made a decision, step 3, and an inventory of your grosser handicaps, step 4, the grosser handicaps, especially if it's your first one, you're kind of looking for the stuff you got to deal with most. Other stuff will come up later, or you can sort it out. You have made a good beginning. That being so, you have swallowed and digested some big chunks of truth about yourself. So that completes step 4 in the big book. Now, we're not done. Bill wrote a step book 13 years later. I'll get to that at the end of the video. What I want to do is come back now and kind of pick this over. It sounds like we're done, and maybe we are to somebody, but I have some problems with it the way it is, and this is where I'm going to use my 38 years of continuous sobriety. A couple of years before that, and even before that, I had experience right from 11 up, and my experience with hearing fourth steps and doing them and reading the books and teaching in an effort to sort this out in a way that makes the most sense, because I understand the higher steps, and so you choose whatever format you like. So let's come back to it. So he says, we have listed and analyzed our resentments. We know that's column 1, 2, and 3 of our resentment list. And then he says we've listed the people we hurt by our conduct and are willing to straighten out the past if we could. We'll see that same language in step 8, the first thing we read in the big book. So that would be the development of it as columns 4 and 5 of our resentment list. It would be our fear list, and it would be our sex conduct list. But specifically, column 5 of all the lists. So what's my problem with that? Well, yes, we have a harms list in column 5. We have an equivalent, let's say we have a rose bush. So a rose bush is a pricker bush, and some kind of a rose may be developing off of it. So are we going to take this pricker bush on up to step 8 and 9 and hand it over to somebody in the form of an amend? I would hope not. Another way of asking it, are we going to drag our past in this list up to 8 and 9 and run around with that? I would hope not. So the best alternative, I think, is to develop the rows, snip the rows, and let's bring the rows up to step 9. So what am I saying? Let's use Bill's format to contemplate this. So I'm going to go with a 5-column format because I think it fits here. And I'm going to use his words. I've done this before, but to try to clean it up for you so that you can make sense of this. So what I want to do is make a new list. In those names in column 5, let's bring those over to a new list, a step 8 list that's clean. Let's start building. Let's snip the rows. Let's start developing the rows portion, because at some point we will take the rose bush, the thorny part of it, and we're going to bring that into step 5, as we will, and we'll say that's on this hand. That's that list that we made. But this list over here, we're going to call the rows. And we'll take that into step 5 also. We will talk out all of this in step 5 with a sponsor. We will consider that column 5, but we'll also develop this harms done others list. If new names come up, they're likely to. Or if we understand things better, we're going to want to take notes and organize this. And I'm going to show you an example now so that we can better contemplate how we might develop this list. And then we're going to split the track. This list here, the pricker bush part, that's going to go through step 5, and then step 6 and 7 are going to absorb that. And so what do I mean by that? In 5, we're looking for character defects, shortcomings, misgivings, sins, things we don't like about ourselves, things that have bothered us, behaviors we want to change, and we're going to understand those things. And then we're going to bring that stuff into 6 and 7. Now, on the other hand, this rose, after step 5, we're going to have a clean list. We're not going to be dragging that garbage anymore. That stuff's gone. It's got somewhere else to be. And we're going to take that list, that clean list, up to step 8 for further development in regards to willingness, things like that, so we can contemplate it clean. It's the 2 and 2 equals 4. The 2 and 2 go up to step 6 and 7. The 4, the conclusion, goes up to step 8. We're looking for people that we had harmed, because what's life without people in it? Is I mean, we're without humans. I mean, hopefully that's a concept that you are going to interact better with your fellow man and woman, children, etc. So let's contemplate the list. So using a 5-column format, as Bill did, and taking Bill's words, let's take a look at his suggestion of how you might develop your amends list. So we know column 5 from our prick-a-bush: whom had I hurt, or may owe an amend? So the husband. What I did to cause harm and or why I may owe an amend. And largely those 2 columns are taken off of column 5, but split up a little more so you can better understand it and develop this for step 8. So she lied and cheated. Am I willing to make amends? Yes, no, or maybe. Why? Bill has talked again and again about willingness. How do we go about developing willingness? Well, let's face it head on. Let's ask the question, let's answer it, so we can talk it out with our sponsor in step 5, understand it ourselves, and progress. In basic, I just have basic answers there. You can see, yes, she is willing, because she wants to make things right to help both of them feel better and to function better. Arguably, there's distortions within the individuals that could be cleared up if they could clear up this mess that they created. So how about column 4? Is it appropriate to make amends? Because we have that clause Bill provided, except when to do so will injure them or others. And if so, how might you go about doing that? For example, the phone, a letter, a direct amend through prayer. Maybe they've passed. Financially, past child support, other things, maybe a loan, through personal assistance. So various questions you can certainly add to them. And in this case, I just, the example I used, processing info now. In her mind, she's processing this question while developing, and she's going to take it up further in step 5. She's not quite sure, but she's got time to develop this. And so remember that question in the sex conduct, the model for the future? Maybe it survives for more than just that. Maybe it can survive for all. In that ideal, the best possible future outcome that you could develop, she's got here, my word is my bond, to value her commitments and address problems honestly, wherever they led, to develop sobriety or recovery. This is Alcoholics Anonymous, so I figured I'd throw that in. This is just fictitious. And, if you don't like my examples, hey, break on a pen and paper, and maybe you've got some of your own you could develop. So let's look at a second one. So another cheating example, but the husband cheated on the wife, and it affected the children also. In column two, well, what did I do to cause this harm? Well, cheated and broke up the family. Uh, doesn't know yet about the amend. Maybe it's kind of a bad situation, but with the children, yeah, it's right. Uh, they've been hurt, and he wants to do well by his children. Is it appropriate to? He doesn't know yet. He's going to address it in step five with the kids. Yes, certainly a direct amend, and the model. He's going to live an honest life, develop skills towards stability, and he's going to understand what went wrong. He's going to be a better, sober, drug-free parent. This next one, I want to basically an example from that drug dealer that I spoke about earlier. So in his case, maybe I just threw these on one line. It's possible these are just a couple of examples. You might need to break these out one at a time to develop them better. So I'm just trying to fit a tight, quick ideas for contemplation. So maybe he hurt himself, his family, the property owner, the bank, his animals for certain. I've seen it. Those harmed by the drugs or their families that he was selling, for example. What he did, he sold illegal drugs and went back to jail. He hurt a lot of people. He had connected to a lot of people, and he's early on, and there's a lot of maybes. He doesn't know, but he's doing his best. For example, in this application, is it appropriate? I think so, but a couple of me not sure about that. Might be a little deep right now for that sort of thing. But an ideal, a model for the future to replace the drug dealing behavior with a new model. Maintain heavy 12-step work while finding my new footing, identity, or new life. Pour ourselves the more into helping others rather than pouring ourselves into hurting them. In another example, my boss, well, he stole. Uh, is he willing? Maybe. He could risk losing the job, so a funky deal. Uh, is it appropriate? He's not sure right now. Step five, he's going to take it up with his sponsor. But he's going to do his best to create a life where he can be honest and no more stealing. He's going to do the steps, attend meetings, enhance his sobriety. So there's a wide range of resentments. I don't want to limit it. I just wanted to hopefully allow you to appreciate this 5-column format that speaks to your future. Again, that other list, that prickle bush, that's going to get absorbed in 6 and 7. This here, no, that's going up to step 8. And that other stuff, you don't need that stuff around anymore. It's not going to help you. You know what the basic conclusions are. You'll develop this more in step 5, more in step 8 and 9. Say if you turn up some more character defects later on, you know where those go? Step 6 and 7. Don't let the numbers of the steps confuse you. As you understand how these things go and how the steps work together, it better helps you to navigate the steps and to see that they're to help you no matter where you're at in the moment. Track that energy. And what do I mean by track that energy? The energy you were out drinking, let's say, out committing crimes, out selling drugs, whatever, that energy. And then, so that energy is going somewhere. If you don't use that energy towards recovery, maybe it goes bad and that energy's out again doing something that you don't want to do. So you apply that energy in a positive way. This 12-step work, for example, helping others in building going to meetings, talking to others, having a sponsor, doing the steps. These all are, there's a place for that energy. and it can feel good to be in control of your life. So I hope you found this format helpful. And I'll also show you what I did in 98. I didn't develop it this far in 98, but it's worth a look in case you prefer that. So in 98, I had a less developed format. We'll call it a 2-column format. And I believe the 5-column format is a better format. It provides you an opportunity to develop willingness, provides you an opportunity to place notes, develop future goals, and it's just a cleaner version. So where do we go from here? As it turns out, Bill, 13 years later, wrote another book, the 12 and 12 step book. And in there is a whole step 4. And some people might grab for that book looking for instructions how to do step 4. So what I want to do next video is focus on a specific section of that and iron out a few things, understand a few things. Because the video after that, we're going to read the 12 and 12 step 4 in its entirety. And for many, for the first time, we'll understand the full context of what Bill was saying. And I believe that's very important, because I think there's been a source of confusion out there of how the step book was intended. And if it's missed, if this information is missed, the entirety of the big book and all the work we just did, there's not a connection there. So let's make that connection. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Ring the bell to be notified when new content is added. Also, you can support the channel 12-Step Guide with Troyo by donating through PayPal to hsworldservice@yahoo.com. In Step 4, we are laying the groundwork and planting seeds for the 9th step promises. Those promises are: we are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Keep moving forward. It's worth the effort.